Hi guys, this is Elisa with Fusion DIY. Welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I have a couple of thrift flips for you that I've been working on over this past week. So I hope that you enjoy the video, and I'm not going to delay it any longer. Let's get right to it. So this was a picture frame that I picked up a couple of years ago, and it's just been sitting in my stash, and so I wanted to get rid of it. And I've done the flowers transfers on sheet music. Those have sold well for me. I've done birds on sheet music. That has sold well for me. So I'm going to try a longer version of birds on sheet music. And this picture frame was actually, I want to say, probably 17 or 18 inches long by about 7 inches wide, so it was long and narrow, and I thought that I would try and just get a couple of stencils and see what I could do with it. So what I'm doing here is I'm simply taking some sheet music that I found at a thrift store, I believe, or yard sale, and I bought the whole book, and I think I paid 25 cents for the book. And so I'm trimming it down, and I'm going to Mod Podge it onto the backing of the picture frame. So once I got the pages Mod Podge down, I curled over the edge of the page and I'm cutting off the excess. I'm not overly concerned about getting a clear, crisp line because there is a little bit of an overlap once you put it into the frame, and you're not going to see the edge anyway, so it was okay if I simply cut it. So now that I've gotten that done and I dried the Mod Podge with my gun, I'm going to take some paint and I'm just going to go over the music notes just to dull down the starkness of the music notes. This actually will then make whatever's in the forefront really pop, and you're not so concerned about looking at the music, but you'll see that, you know, the birds are on there and they just stand out a little bit more against the white background. Now, as a basis of comparison, you can see the before and the after, and I really like the after a lot. Now, I'm going to slow this part of the video down because I really want you to see these beautiful stencils. I picked them up on Amazon, and I had two piles. The pile to the left was the maybe pile. The pile to the right was the no pile. I wasn't going to use them. So as you can see, some of them are just absolutely beautiful. I felt like that one in the middle was just too many birds. It was just not, I think, fitting with the other two stencils that I had already pre-selected, and I really liked those two. So that one is going to go into the no. Oh, that went into the maybe pile. Okay, so maybe I was thinking that was definitely a no because I felt that on the sheet music would be too busy. And the same thing with that. I felt like just too many birds, too many music notes, just way too much for the eye to take in. And the same thing with this one as well. Again, in a different type of a setting, these are perfect and they're beautiful stencils, but for what I was doing, it wasn't really appropriate. Beautiful hummingbird, but I can't really use it there. This one I kind of thought about, and I'm pretty sure I put that in the maybe pile. And we'll see what I did. I don't remember. But I kind of liked the contrast of the smaller bird to the left, the bigger ones in the center, and then the smaller one to the right. Yep, that went in the maybe pile. Again, that's too busy, too many birds, too much going on there. As was that. That one I actually had to think about for a little bit. I was thinking, is there a way that I could have connected the branches? But in the end, I said no, and so I put it in the no pile. I also put that in the no pile. Again, beautiful stencils, but not right for this project. This one I really liked. I thought the birds were about the same size, so that one is definitely going to go into the maybe pile, and I thought, let me shift things around a little bit and see how that turned out, and I liked that. So I took that one, and I'm pretty sure I put him in the maybe pile. Yep, into the maybe pile. Another one, again, I felt that that might be a little too big, so that went in the no pile. That one was definitely too big. That went in the no pile. That one was way too busy, so that one went into the no pile as well. So once I got my maybe pile back out again, I started to look at the ones that I thought might be possibilities. And that one I really liked. My only concern was two large birds and a small one at the end. Same thing with this one. There's a large one, two large ones, and then a smaller one at the end. So that one went back into the no pile. And this is my process of elimination, actually. And so that one was a maybe, still a maybe. And then there was that one. And that went into the no pile. So that was my decision, that I was going to use those three. Aren't they beautiful stencils? If I can remember where I got them, I'll definitely link them in the description box below. So now I am going to stencil onto the sheet music the birds that I chose for this project. And remember, when you're stenciling, less paint is more. So even if you have to go back over something a second time, you want to make sure that you have no excess paint on your sponge or your brush or whatever tool you're using to stencil with. That will just give you clear, crisp lines every time. And like I said, if it's not dark enough for you, you can always go back and you can go over the stencil again to make it a little bit darker. Okay, so now I'm going to take off the first one. I love it. It looks great. The second one, I love that too. And then finally, the third one, I love it. It looks great. I hope that you agree. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and put it back into the frame. And the reason that I like the frame is because it already had the hanging hardware on it, so it made it very easy for me to flip this project. It was a little bit time consuming because I had to do the decoupage and everything else and let that dry. But overall, it was a really fun project, and I really loved how the project came out. So here it is done, and it's kind of hard to see in the camera because of how wide the frame is, but I also have a picture of it hanging in my booth, and you'll have an opportunity to see that in just a minute. I really love this project. This second project I picked up at a thrift store, again, a couple of years ago, and it's just been hanging around in my stash, and so I wanted to get something done with it and get it into my booth. I am trying really hard this year to work through my stash and not purchase anything if I can help it, unless I have a very specific project in mind. And one of my goals is really to increase my sales by 15%. So in order to do that, I need to reduce my expenses. So again, working through your stash is a great way to do that. Wow, getting this piece out of this frame was quite the challenge. The staples were in there really, really good. But nonetheless, I wasn't giving up. And so once I got it out of the frame, I decided that I was going to paint it with paint that nearly matched the frame itself. And so I'm going to give it 2 coats of this acrylic paint, and it matched very, very closely. And you'll see when I do the first coat of paint, it really doesn't do it very well. It really doesn't look very good. But that's okay, because first coats don't say anything. They don't mean anything. It's the second coat that really, tells you what the piece is going to look like. So I'm going to take the paint onto this board, And then I'm going to take my heat gun. Now, let me tell you, if you are a crafter and you don't have a heat gun, oh my goodness, you need to have a heat gun, because this cut down on my time for this project so dramatically that it was something that was done probably in an hour, so, and maybe not even an hour. So now I'm going to give it a second coat of this acrylic green paint. If I was going to not be keeping the glass in the frame, I probably wouldn't have used the acrylic paint. I probably would have used some type of a chalk paint. But for the fact that it was in a frame behind glass, I chose to use the acrylic paint. And once again, I'm just going to take my heat gun and I'm going to dry that second coat of paint. And you can see how nicely the second coat makes that page look. So now I'm going to take a transfer from the Holly Glen transfer set from Iron Orchid Designs. This was a set that came out around Christmas time, and there are just so many beautiful pieces of transfer in this set, and they're not necessarily all Christmas. There were definitely some ones that were specific to Christmas, but something like this could definitely be used year-round. So I took the transfer and I put it onto the page, and it was just amazing to me how easily this transferred onto the page. Even though the paint I had just painted it, and it was, I hadn't really done anything to the paper. I didn't put down any kind of a sealer on it. The transfer stuck very well, and it looked great once I peeled back the vellum from the transfer. So now there's just a couple of places on the board that I just wanted to clean up with some of the paint. And so I'm just going back and I'm fixing those few spots there. And then I'm going to take my heat gun and I'm going to dry that paint before I put it back into the frame. And also just make sure that the transfer is down. So I'm going to just press along the transfer as well, just to make sure that everything is secured and that there's no chance of anything sticking to the glass once I put it into the frame. So I put it back into the frame, and getting it in was just as difficult as getting it out, and then pressing down the staples to hold it in place. But once it was in and it was done, I absolutely loved the project, and here's what it looked like. So after that was done, I cleaned the glass, and then I was looking at it, and the frame was a little bit different in color to what I had painted on the background. So I actually went over the frame real quick with one coat of the same color paint that I used for the background paper. So it does look a little bit different now that it's in my booth, but here it is. And finally, for project 3, I picked up this bunny planter at the Habitat Restore, and I think I paid $1 for it. And I really liked it because I really liked all of the texture. So what I'm doing is I'm taking some Waverly chalk paint in the color Mineral, and I'm adding a little bit of baking soda to the chalk paint to give it more of a textured finish to make this bunny look like a concrete bunny. It definitely won't be able to be used outside because I don't have the outdoor polyurethane to spray on it, but definitely could be a very cute addition to somebody's home indoors. So now I'm going over the bunny with a chip brush, and this is the reason that I hang on to my chip brushes, because in situations like this, they just work out to be really, really helpful. And I'm pouncing all over the bunny rather than using an up or down motion to get this paint into all of the grooves in this ceramic planter. So once I got the bunny painted, I took my heat gun and I dried the paint, and I happened to notice that there was a couple of places where it could have used some touch-up. But honestly, I have to tell you, this project took me, well, it definitely didn't take me an hour. It took maybe a half an hour to complete this project. It was just so fast and so easy. And so after I gave it the paint and I dried it with the heat gun, I gave it 2 coats of spray polyurethane, and then I am going to show you a picture of it in my booth. So what did you think of those thrift flips? I have to say, I think my favorite piece was the 3 birds on the sheet music. That one just kind of came to me in the middle of the night, and I thought, well, I'm going to try it. And it turned out, I thought, really nice. So all of these items will be available in my booth at the Pickers Junction, 141 East Broad Street in Quakertown, Pennsylvania. So if you live in the western New Jersey or northeastern Pennsylvania area, definitely check it out. Now, on a more serious note, I do want to tell you that I am just out of the hospital having surgery, and somebody needs to hear this today. I had a colonoscopy back in February, and the doctor found some not so good things, so I had to have some polyps surgically removed. And so if you haven't had a colonoscopy and you're 50 years of age or older, I am encouraging you to please have it done. I know that it feels uncomfortable. I know that you might be a little bit shy about having it done, but let me tell you, having this colonoscopy saved my life. So with that being said, That's my public service announcement for today. I hope that you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please give it a thumbs up. Let me know what was your favorite project that I transformed today, and comment below and hit the subscribe button and the notification bell if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet. Once again, thanks for joining me today. Have an awesome week, and I'll see you in the next video.